Are the Suns better right now than they were 4 hours ago?
It's a really difficult question to answer. If the fit is better, then yes. Did they get more depth? Yeah. I mean, you traded Deandre Ayton and a rookie who probably wasn't going to play very much. You did get players in Grayson Allen and Little who could absolutely, bust into that rotation and play. Listen, here's the easiest way to say it. Ayton's a better player than Nurkic. He's younger. He's more athletic. He's got more upside and more potential. And I'll never say that he wasn't. I'll never say that he wasn't better. But I think this really comes down to fit. And if Nurkic is willing to do a lot of the things that Ayton wasn't and the fit's right, well, then they could absolutely be better. They could absolutely be better if, Nurkic is willing to do everything that the Suns need him to do that maybe DeAndre wasn't going to do.
And just in case you have, and when I say you, I mean you out there listening right now, thank you for listening. In case you are just tuning in or you don't know what we're talking about, I'm going to be doing this a lot today. Damian Lillard, there was a big 3-team trade today. The Milwaukee Bucks got Damian Lillard. The Blazers got Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, a bunch of picks. The Suns got Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, Keon Johnson. And now you brought up something, and this is just a quick aside here, that I was not aware of. I had assumed this meant the Suns needed to make another roster move because they had too many dudes.
No.
They don't have too many dudes. They're fine. They don't have to. And this makes them an incredibly deep basketball team. But going back to the question, are the Suns better? There's no doubt the best player in the trade. Well, okay, the best player in the trade is Damian Lillard. Second best player in the trade. Okay, the second best player in the trade is Drew Holiday. Okay, but the best player going out from the Suns, DeAndre Ayton is better than anything they got coming back. Okay, as an individual talent, he's just got more skill. He's got more tools in the tool belt. He's just a better, more skilled basketball player. Did they get better, though, becomes a very nuanced question. Because it's so cliche, and I know I brought this up on Friday, and a lot of people kind of got on me on social media. If you subscribe to addition by subtraction, if you believe a basketball team can get better by getting rid of players who weren't buying in all the way.
I'm a huge addition by subtraction guy.
If you subscribe to addition by subtraction, you can look at this trade and say, yes, the Phoenix Suns just got better today.
You can.
If you think that's a crock, then you'll look at this trade and go, no, the Suns did not just get better. They traded DeAndre Ayton for Yusuf Nurkic and others. I don't want to just make it about him. And I think a lot of your ability to say, as a fan, I think the Suns won the trade today or got better today, is based off of your simple acceptance of that theory. Addition by subtraction, do you believe it or do you not?
The fans that have soured on DA over the years, he doesn't hustle, he doesn't give you everything he has, he doesn't have the heart, he doesn't have the passion to play the game. Every one of them is going to look at this and in some way say the Suns are better, okay? Because Nurkic is a smart basketball player. He does a lot of things well. He could score. Does a lot of things well. He's a very good passer. He's got great hands.
Very good passer.
Very good hands.
Very tough. Maybe not physically, athletically gifted, but very tough out there.
Big. Around the basket, he's a big body. He's taking box guys out. He's tough to get around.
Yep.
And he rebounds the basketball at a pretty good rate. So if you've soured on DA, if you're one of those people that just never believed that DA was ever going to live up to the expectations, that he was always going to be a guy that was never going to give you his all, that was always going to, sour on everything and just not fit in, then I think you look at this trade and you say, okay, this is a good trade. You got a serviceable big man in Nurkic. You got another 2 wing players, which, and one of them could shoot the hell out of the ball from 3. Another one's good defensively and works hard. I think you could like that. Now, if you were an Ayton fan, if you were a believer that what he did for the Bahamas, he was about to turn the corner, You're not going to like this trade.
Also, if you were a fan of seeing what Frank Vogel could bring out in DeAndre Ayton, you're not going to like this trade. And so I'll cop it to you, and I'll cop it to everybody out there listening. Look, there is part of me that wanted to see if Frank Vogel had the key. If Frank Vogel could pick the lock, because Monty couldn't. Monty couldn't pick the lock. Devin couldn't. Devin couldn't pick the lock. Nobody could pick the lock. For 2 glorious months in the summer of 2021, when the Suns were 2 wins away from winning a championship, the lock was picked. And DeAndre Ayton was exposed out there for the world to see, and he was playing his butt off. It was exhilarating to watch him play for those 2 months. Since then, nobody's been able to solve the riddle. And I'll admit it, I wanted Frank Vogel to kind of have a shot at it. Take a swing. See if you can hit the pitch.
Yeah.
Have an at-bat or two. Let's see if you can change it. I'll always wonder, Gambo, always, what Frank Vogel could have done with Deandre Ayton.
We'll never know.
Whether it would have worked or not.
We'll never know. Well, what I do know this is I do know that in the playoff bubble, Frank Vogel switched on Nurkic every chance he got when the Lakers played them in the playoffs. When they played him in the playoff bubble, anybody wants to go back to the bubble and look at that series, Frank Vogel, they went after Nurkic. Mm-hmm. They went, and if we get Vogel on the show, I'm going to ask him about that. Like, you guys in the bubble, you attacked him. You switched on him. Deandre Ayton punishes teams that switch because he's good at it. Nurkic doesn't. So Frank Vogel, when they played Portland a couple of years ago in the bubble, every opportunity they got to switch on Nurkic, they did.
Yeah.
They did.
But then the other side of that coin is, and to your point specifically, how this helps the Suns in the summer when they're making a run to the NBA Finals. Now, that's in some ways, that's almost a different conversation because I think in those games in a series like that, Nurkic might get a little bit exposed and he might become a little bit of a liability, and you might not be able to play him as much as you can during the regular season because it comes so matchup centric in moments like that. I do also think, I'm going to go back to something I said on Friday when we were doing the show, and I really do believe this. I think this also speaks a little bit to how the Suns internally might view Drew Eubank and what he's able to do, because they basically just acquired Portland's two top centers from a year ago.
They were the two centers, yeah.
And if they like Eubank enough that they feel like they can live with the weaknesses of Nurkic and tolerate the weaknesses of Nurkic because they've got Eubank, well, that speaks to how they feel about him too, you know?
I also think that they could look at a lot of small ball with this lineup.
Oh, yeah.
With Durant at the 5, and because then you could go Durant at the 5, you could go Booker, Beal, and then you could go like Gordon or Watanabe. You could go Bates, Diop, and Grayson Allen. Like, you could really spread the floor with shooters if you go small ball. So I think they'll try to take advantage of that.
The other part of the did the Suns just get better conversation is and I'm going to play this cut from this is Frank Vogel, and he was on Sirius XM radio. This is from over the summer. All right, this will sound familiar to a lot of fans. Frank Vogel, head coach of the Suns, was talking about his great relationship that he was off to with Deandre Ayton.
I'm off to a great start with him from a relationship standpoint in terms of understanding that, if we want him to defend and rebound at an all-star level, then we're going to have to involve him a little bit more in the offense, and that's just basketball 101 from, you learn that as a youngster, you got to give those big guys the ball sometimes, and when they get it, then they'll run through a wall for you on the other end. So I feel like we're off to a great start with that, and he's going to be a big part of what we do.
So basically they were going to bribe Deandre Ayton with shots to get him to do what they wanted him to do. It's very easy to not like that, right? It's very easy to hear that soundbite and go, you shouldn't have to bribe Deandre Ayton with shots. You shouldn't have to feed him offensively and mess up what you're trying to do to get him to buy in.
How could you have any pudding if you don't eat your dinner?
Exactly, right? Like,
you want pudding? You want pudding?
It's like, hey, I'll, finish those last few bites of peas and you can have some ice cream. No, eat your peas, eat your vegetables because they're good for you. And we're trying to win a championship here. And I don't care about your shot. And so that alone kind of speaks to this. How is he going to fit and how is it going to work? And we're not even getting into Devin Booker's level of tolerance for Deandre Ayton any longer. Kevin Durant's level of tolerance for Deandre Ayton. You have to
wonder if that played a factor.
Have to. I mean,
you have to.
I've got to think it played a major factor in all of it. And again, it circles back to addition by subtraction. Did you get better because you subtracted a player who would have wanted a bunch of shots, who might not have given you all that he's got to give? Now, Nurkic, is he going to give you all he's got to give? We'll see. Have you seen his social media feed? Have you seen what he's tweeted out?
Deandre Ayton?
No,
I'm blocked on Deandre Ayton changed his avatar or something?
I'm talking
Somebody said that he did.
I'm talking about Nurkic.
Oh, Nurkic.
Nurkic tweeted out a picture of Suns in 4 guy, and he's like, can't wait, let's go. The Suns in 4 guy. I can't wait to start with my new home.
Oh, man.
Hopefully he's going to run through a brick wall. Hopefully he doesn't have to be bribed with shots to do it. I don't think he does. And hopefully the Suns locker room is now, they're all rowing in the same direction. And you could fairly wonder that with Deandre Ayton, whether they truly were or not.
That's a good way to put it.
You know?
They'll probably all be rolling in the right direction. You don't have to worry about the A anymore.